everyone. Today we have two incredible guests with us. Destiny Arnold, Project Manager at Conscious Connect, and Toya Webb, Realtor with Home Experts Realty. I'm your host, Sarah Tyree, also a Realtor and founder of Your Best Life, Dayton. These two inspiring women are hosting an important event next Tuesday, September 17th, a free screening of Redlining, mapping inequality in Dayton and Springfield, followed by a panel discussion. We'll also discuss the vital housing resources that will be available at the event. Let's dive right in. Okay, so the first question is kind of for both of you, whoever wants to start. The history of redlining is incredibly painful and still impacts communities today. Why did you choose this film for this event, and what do you hope attendees will take away from viewing it?
That's a really great question, Sarah. I watched the redlining event or the redlining documentary, and I was so moved and impacted. I think we had even had met before for coffee, and we were just kind of talking about the situation of Dayton and the housing and all that stuff. So once I saw the film, I was I had to take action. Like, it gave me new meaning to being a realtor, to having my license, and to the work that I do. And so I've kind of shifted more on revitalization and how can we really create change when it comes to the impact of redlining. And for me, what got me was the film. So I know that there needs to be a conversation around education, um, and action, honestly. And so after I saw the film, that was it. And I reached out to Destiny and I said, "Have you seen this?" And she was like, "Girl." So I'll let Destiny jump in and say why this is important to her.
Yeah, I would say it definitely happened very organically. Like Toya said, she had this idea and we just happened to talk about it. And I was super excited about it. But I think this documentary specifically is so great to use because it doesn't just inform people about what rand lighting is, but it's specifically focused in our area. And a lot of
Yeah.
people don't recognize, that Dayton and Springfield had, a lot to do with the start of redlining and that history and things like that. So kind of just recognizing that origin, and kind of where we're going is was the interest there.
And what if you just give like a quick I say quick, that was probably not the right word choice. Give an overview of what redlining is.
Absolutely. So redlining is basically laws or practices that are used to discriminate against people for the use of mortgages and credit and loans and things of that nature. So that's kind of how it got it started back in the 1930s.
Conscious Connect is doing so much for the community when it comes to education and empowerment. How does this
Yeah.
event tie into your mission, and how do you see redlining affecting communities like Springfield and Dayton today?
So it ties into our mission because it has to do with the development of urban spaces, and of course, our organization is based in both Dayton and Springfield. Um, we are actually tapping into housing as we speak, which is something that is a little bit new for us, but I think is something that was always on the radar and on the horizon. We just had to do some of the groundwork before we could get there, right? And so we actually have affordable rental properties in both Dayton and Springfield, which is how we got connected with Toya, actually, because she is our realtor here in Dayton. So she's not only connected us for our rental property that we have, but also our Dayton headquarters that we'll be using as our office space. So I think, like I said, the connection for housing, but then just overall neighborhood revitalization, beautifying
Mhm.
our spaces, getting rid of blight and things like that is really why it aligns with our mission.
Now, could either one of you give us some examples of how you see redlining affecting communities like Springfield and Dayton today?
Oh, for sure. Like, um, if you drive through the city of Dayton on the east or, the west side, you will see blighted communities. And that is strategically an impact of redlining. It's really sad, but that is what happens when you have these systems that are put into place to create a lesser value area, so that people can't, maintain homes or own homes, or their value home is not the same as if it were placed in a different community, so it really is, what you're seeing is the impact of not being able to have resources, um, which is really unfortunate. It's really sad. And it's created this conversation and narrative around these neighborhoods that are terrifying, that are terrifying people. And it's actually being placed on the people versus the system, the systems that are in place, like redlining. So I really think it's just so important. Like, I really try to communicate to my investors, like, listen, invest in Dayton. It's a great place. Yes, like, don't be afraid. Like, let's have a conversation about it versus you just listening to this narrative. Let me explain to you why Dayton is the way that it is, which has been really impactful, because now I have investors that are like, oh, okay, send me some properties. I want to start looking in Dayton. So I think it's the conversation, it's the understanding that really brings about change, which is what we're all striving for.
My next question is about how you see redlining affecting housing at this point as a realtor. And I think that was a pretty good overview of that. And do you have any other ideas of how we could work towards more equitable housing in Dayton?
I really think that this is a conversation that Destiny and I have had to, like, in our Zoom calls and stuff, like, what is gentrification and what is revitalization? You know what I mean? And so, like, I know that we are all passionate about revitalization, which is where we are taking these resources and we're putting them back into our community so that we can create equity, and raise property values, and really give people the resources that they need to be successful as Dayton homeowners. So I think really focusing on, which is why I love the Conscious Connect, and as a CDC, they really are working towards community development, and educating people to give them resources to be able to do what we need to do.
Yes, we Dayton residents are so thankful for organizations like Conscious Connect and how
Absolutely.
they're helping the community.
Thank you.
So you can answer this, Toya. You might take the lead on this one. Why do you feel it is particularly important for realtors to see this?
Oh my goodness. I hate to say it, because it is my industry and I love my industry. But I think without proper conversation and education, we have some subconscious biases that lead us towards steering. And it's not something I think that we as realtors intentionally do, but it does happen. And then also being able to have conversations with our clients where we are knowledgeable and we can really explain, like, why Dayton is the way that it is, and how, as first-time homeowners or even people that are looking for a new house, how imperative it is to consider Dayton as a location. And I know, Sarah, that's what you're doing with your show, really trying to highlight these beautiful neighborhoods that people are overlooking because of a certain narrative that exists around it. So as a realtor, I think being knowledgeable and being educated to be able to have these conversations about the importance of revitalization and how we really can create and transform the devastating impacts of redlining.
Yeah.
How
I
about
would
you,
just
Destiny?
literally just kind of co-signing what you said. For me, it's really just the education, right? So when you're coming to a realtor as a client, you're looking for them to be the expert in this area. So it's really important for them to understand those historical implications, so they can understand what that means for us now and here, and how it has changed the city and just different things like that. So just the overall knowledge for themselves, but then, like you said, so they can also educate their clients is extremely important.
Yeah, I think the more knowledge that we have, the better off we are, because we kind of get put in a tough spot. The fair housing laws are wonderful, but also they limit us on what we can talk to our clients about. The more resources we have that we can point people towards where they can answer their own questions is vital. The last question, following the screening, there will be a panel discussion and housing resources available. Can you tell us more about the panelists and the type of support that attendees can expect to find at the event?
So we have 6 panelists. Of course, Toya will actually be one of the panelists, representing for the realtor perspective from Home Experts Realty. I will actually be kind of leading the discussion. So she'll be sitting on the panel. We also have Moses from the Conscious Connect. He is the co-founder. He will be a part of the conversation as well, speaking from the community development aspect. We also have Michael Carter, who is the senior advisor to the president and chief diversity officer at Sinclair College. Michael was also a part of the film, so he has a very unique perspective. He has lived experience in this area as well.
I will just say I'm so excited that my broker, Pat Coral, she is the VP
Yes.
of the Dayton Area Board of Realtors. She has jumped in, and so she's going to be one of the panelists, which I'm I'm so excited about that and so grateful for their support. They have been so wonderful. So she's going to be on the panel, and then we have Fred Diggs. He agreed to be on the panel as well. He was also in the film, so he has a lived experience when it comes to redlining, and he's also a realtor. So I think that is going to be a valuable conversation to have with him as well. Destiny, who else do we have? Oh, we have Selena Burks. Go ahead, Destiny.
Yes. So Selena Burks, I don't want to mess up her other last name. And then Richard Wonderling. So 2 of the producers from the film as well. And I believe that Selena is also a professor. And so, yeah, so just kind of like, definitely a wide range of perspectives that will be there and available. Of course, I will ask some questions to the panelists, but we will also be opening it up to audience members to ask questions as well, which we're super excited about. And then in the lobby area of the Neon, where the screening will be hosted, there will be a number of housing organizations set up, ready to share their information with residents. So we've connected with the Dayton Home Repair Network. We've connected with Dayton Tenants Union, just a number of different home repair networks to participate and share their resources with community.
That is very exciting. That is quite a panel you guys put together there.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm excited to hear it. I already RSVP'd, well, this is such an important conversation for our community, and I'm so grateful to both of you for hosting this event and for sharing your insights today. For anyone watching, make sure you head to the Neon next Tuesday, September 17th at 7. Doors open at 7, screening starts at 7:30, correct? Okay. For this free screening and to take advantage of the housing resources on site. Let's continue this conversation and work toward a more equitable future for all. Thanks again, Destiny and Toya, for joining me today. And I will put the information to RSVP for the event either below or above, wherever you're watching this.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah, for having us.